Hi, I'm Christine with Soccer Trainr KC. Originally from Scotland, been in Kansas City for 20 years, been involved in youth soccer full time for the last 15.
Christian Duke. I am originally from Kansas City, Overland Park native, went to Shimerson South High School. Throughout my high school career, played in the academy with Sporting KC, Wizards at the time. Went to school, University of San Diego, spent 4 years there, was drafted by Sporting in 2013, and then went on to play for 9 years professionally.
Jason Bell is operator, AGY Performance, and Christian's professional career is kind of where this all started. Christian was the first professional athlete that I started working with. From that relationship, watching how professional he was, both in his own work and then your work with the kids. Once he retired, it was like a quick question of, okay, how do we work together? You with the soccer side, us with the performance side. How do we create something that is a professional level program for young kids? And that's where we started with the college program 3 or 4 years ago. You know, I was at I think we had 1,000 square foot space then. You were at Shawnee Mission South. We had the college kids 3 days a week. We went out to the field with them for 2 days and then sent them over to you for 2 days. And that program went from, I want to say it was like 8 athletes the first year we did it to close to 26 total last year that we had. So the program's growing, and then obviously we're growing. So I think we just want to spend some time helping the athletes understand what we've got going on this summer. And so this summer we've got, it's no longer just the college program. I think last year it was college and committed. Now we're going college, committed, and pathway. So I just want to dive into, you know, from your guys' end, when we're thinking, you know, obviously we understand what a college athlete is. They're playing in college. We understand what a committed athlete is. They've signed the piece of paper saying they are committed to playing in college. But a better idea of what a pathway athlete is, like what qualities do they have from your end besides just thinking it would be fun to play in college, right? Like I think a lot of kids think it would be fun. There's a difference between thinking it would be fun and then having the ability and the skill level to play in college. So when we think of quality from that pathway standpoint, Chris, since you've got a son that's gone through it all to playing in college, what do you think, what would describe a pathway athlete?
So several things, right? So obviously you're going to have that technical ability, you know, and that desire and commitment to get better. But then it's how hard do you work and how committed you are to continuing down that pathway, not just on the soccer side, but also on the fitness and the performance side. And that this program really brings it all together, ties stuff together, because what we'll be able to offer is a lot of repetition, game-like situations and movements through our experience coaching and playing, and obviously Christian's experience at the pro level, that we can bring that and break it down, and now we hand it over to the athletes to work on, to digest, and hopefully that influences their game and to take it to the next level.
You've worked with young kids. When you think of a pathway, what characteristics come to mind when you think of pathway?
For me, it's every kid has a pathway. There's all types of pathways. And I think for a youth athlete, it's a pathway that they're designing themselves, but we're there to help in terms of showing them and instructing and give them resources to make them successful on the field. But at the end of the day, the pathway is up to the athlete. Again, I mentioned multiple pathways where, you know, we got kids at U8, U9, U10 that are just learning about the game, and that pathway looks a lot different than a high school pathway or a college pathway, because they're getting to a stage in their career and their lives that they got to make choices, right? Whether it's, training 3 to 4 days a week or 5 days a week. That tends to happen with the more committed kids that have a desire and have a passion. Each kid has ability. It's what's driven within them that now really sets them apart on their pathway and their journey. So I think, from the program that we are creating and what we've created is, again, it's giving them discipline, giving them habits, and it's instructing certain aspects that are going to make them successful in their pathway.
Yeah, and I think from the performance side, the college pathway athlete is, and you might be able to look at Jack and think this is, the college pathway athlete is the one that's like, they're driven on their own, right? They're going to go out and get touches on their own without coach, parent, whatever, be like, hey, shouldn't you go out and get touches, right? They're the ones asking for more. Can I do more? Do I have time to go get this in, right? It's, we're gonna have a program for every ability level, every goal, desire level this summer. I just want to make sure when we're talking to these athletes about which program they fit in, we've got kind of a clear distinction. So, I like what you said where, it's the athletes taking it on. I feel like that really encompasses the whole pathway piece of that. College committed pathway it's just the athletes taking it on themselves to be like, I want more. I'm going to play in college. Not, I think it'd be cool, but I really need my parents to push me. Does that feel about right for you guys?
Yeah, I think as well, you guys have both hit on something. It's that about that individual, right? And so no matter what program that they're in, or no matter what level that they're at, it's all based on the individual. So we could be in a group of 5 or 6 or 10 or whatever. It's whatever that individual is willing to put in is what they're ultimately going to get out. Because we can all go and kick a ball against the wall or work on our own, but it's how efficient those touches are and that time we're spending. So sometimes I feel we get hung up on levels and what group and who else is in the group. Ultimately, it comes down to the individual. They can work on their own. They can work in a group of 6 people that are 3 years older than them or 4 years younger than them. The standards and the expectations that they set for themselves are still going to be the same, and it's whatever they are willing to get put in. Ultimately, they'll get back out. But it does come down to how efficient are the touches or the time spent, the quality of the repetitions. We don't need to come in here and do 1 million reps when 15 excellent reps is what we're looking for. And so I think sometimes people think if they work hard, good things will come, and to an extent that's right. But you need that guidance, like Christian said. You need that mentorship, and it needs to be efficient and relative to what we're trying to accomplish.
Chris, to piggyback off of that, I think now talking and distinguishing between what we're offering, right, the college and committed players, we want to also group them in a group that they're going to push each other. I think that's the biggest piece in environments like this. We talk about the individual. The individual has to be self-driven, and the group itself has to be self-driven, or else what we're providing in that time period might not be efficient, and the reps will be there, but how efficient are those reps? So I think that distinguish between college and committed, like-minded people with like-minded goals has to be created in that session. So that pathway is an offering that we have, and then also, the 90-90 that I'm sure we'll speak about is, now they might not be at that college level, but they're in that ECNL, E64 range where, the aspirations are there and the quality is there, and now, what can we do to help push them even more? So I think, touching off that, it's important to recognize that as well. We have to make groups based off of like minds.
Yeah, and I'm excited about this year with this space, right? Because before, like I said, we took all the athletes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You never saw them. We went out to the field to work fitness with them, aerobic capacity, anaerobic power work, and then gave them to you twice. But with this new space, they're going to get soccer work 5 days a week, right? So even the days that we're just working strength and power development and performance with the athlete, they're then going to come, an hour with us and then 45 minutes with you guys on Tuesday, Thursday. Really excited about the soccer lot, being able on Tuesdays to go down and work, just some more technical work. It'll be a longer session. They're going to spend an hour with you guys after getting some capacity work done with us. I love that piece where we fatigue them. We get them legs heavy, out of breath, tired. Then they've got to go make really crisp, clean, technical decisions with you guys thereafter. But I think Thursday is like, even though it's not my thing, it's what I'm probably most excited about that we get to offer, which goes into the ability level, is they're going to get 45 minutes of the technical work, but then they're going to play small-sided for 45 minutes down with you guys, which has always been a dream of mine, to have a space big enough to be like, okay, now we're going to take what we've done all week from a technical standpoint. Now you're playing. Go play, go compete, with some really quality coaching done from the sidelines, bringing awareness to what the athletes are doing. So, from our end, we're going to get the athletes stronger. We're going to work on speed, acceleration, aerobic capacity. We're going to get them more efficient and change of direction. When you guys are thinking about the technical work, we're thinking about the gameplay. What is that college athlete, the committed athlete, that high school pathway to playing college athlete, when they get done with the summer, what are they going to look back and be like, damn, this was the best?
You're hitting a few things there, and I think one of the big things that Christian and I can offer, and other members of the staff, is we're very fortunate to where throughout the year we get to travel around to different events throughout the US, high-level events, and we get to not only watch players we've worked with, but watch other players that are in their age group that are considered the best in their age group. And we can take that information and that knowledge and bring it back. And so now we can take a look at not just what's the best in Kansas City, but what's the best nationwide. Yeah. And then we can start judging levels based off that. It's not just, all right, that's the best player in Kansas City, when we realize that once we're looking at colleges and professional and all this other stuff, even youth level now, the recruiting pool is much bigger than just Kansas City. So that's a big thing that we can take from. But then also, the thing that we've not talked about yet, we've talked about the technical side, we've talked about the performance side, but it's that mental side and that ability to collect information and make decisions, which can really set good players and great players apart. And it's not looked at enough, in my opinion, and it's taken for granted, because we'll see players have success and perform in the moment and maybe get a little bit fortunate in certain things, but long term that's not going to be as successful for them. So with the small-sided games, with the slightly bigger space and more time, we're able to really dive into that decision-making piece and really focus on how are you collecting information and how are you making decisions with that information, and not just doing the exercise because we told you to go from there to there to there, and those couple of things there allow us to build groups that will push each other and allow us to then evaluate players based off of what the best in the country look like, and I think that's invaluable. So
yeah, and just again to piggyback off of Chris, it's the full package. Sports performance, making them stronger, making them faster, so now they have more power, more speed. Decision-making process becomes easier for them at times, but at the end of the day, the game, the ball is being played to an outside back. There's 3 different solutions in the snap of one pass. So now bringing in that element of having them compete against each other with the technical side helps them with their reps, but now how do they mentally make the correct decision? And it might not be the correct decision in the moment, but now they're envisioning 3 different solutions and the timing of one pass.
Because we see all the time players, I'll go and watch games and players are asked, why did you make that decision? And, you've got to think ahead. They can't think ahead yet because they're not confident enough in their ability to receive a ball, right? So the technical piece is very, very important. The repetition is very, very important to where they're comfortable now as the ball's traveling to them. They know they have a certain action. They're going to receive the ball in a certain way. We know now in everyday life, once we're comfortable with a certain action, we can start thinking ahead to what's next. Players can't make decisions on what's next because they're so focused on that touch, because they're nervous and they have to really concentrate to make sure that touch is good. But when it becomes unconscious decision, now they make the touch, but they know they can already look, okay, there's that. I'm going to make a decision based off of that, knowing that my touch is going to go here. And so when we ask, why did you do that? They can give an educated answer. Whether it's the right decision or wrong, it's up to them. They're the ones in the moment. But that's why the technical piece is so important. But then also at decision making, that is going to what set unbelievable players apart. You see some of the top players in the past that might not have been graced with the best athletic actions, with speeds and movement, but they played at the top for a long, long time because their technique and their touch was impeccable, which then allowed them to think ahead and gather information from everything that's going on to make very, very good decisions.
I love it. And I think, the key or a big part of that is the group size that we're going to work with this year. In this college prep program, keeping it at, from our end for our sessions, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, your sessions too. You're just going to have 8 athletes per group. So a lot of time to have these conversations of nuance of, hey, when A happens, B, C, D are the options, right? And then, yes, when we go down Tuesday, Thursday, we're going to expand the groups a little bit. They're going to be upwards of, I think, 12 is how we'll combine them in. But we've got more space, and now we've got more bodies to be able to play small-sided games. Just a lot of actions for them, right? Making sure that we don't, we're not trying to put 20 people into one group and then going to what you said. At that point, they're just doing the drill to do the drill, right? Robotic action into robotic action into robotic action. No conversation. Did anybody really get better? So I think that's one thing that, beyond everything else that you guys have talked about, that's the one thing that's going to separate our program from any other program that they've got this summer, is just the access to your guys' information, but then the time, because of the group size, the time to have conversations with how are we getting better, not just drilling all summer long. So I'm excited about this summer. I can't wait for this program to get up and running. If you are looking for more information, feel free to reach out to either us, AGY Performance on Instagram, Soccer Trainer on Instagram. We will also make sure that in the description we've got contact numbers. So if you want to reach out and have a chat about where you are or where your athlete is relative to our program, we can make sure that you get the best fit for you.